Hello again, everybody. This is the third episode of the Hammerwatch editor tutorials, and this will be covering more advanced scripting. What I've done here is I've set up a nice little tutorial level for you guys with all the scripts pre-laid out, and after I do a quick run through of how they all work, then I'm going to show you guys how to make them. So I'm going to save and test it. Alright, I'm going to show you how to put in a title. It's going to detect how many players are playing and show you what difficulty you're playing under. And those all displayed on the screen right there. And also there was the effect of the screen fading in, where it started out black and it faded in like you see in the very first level of the campaign. I'll teach you how to do that too. Now here's our first little obstacle. There's a statue here that I'm going to teach you how to break. There's a button I'm going to teach you how to click that shakes the screen and spawns a key which can open this door and how the doors work. Alright. And then here's the save buttons that we were looking at last tutorial. And now I'm going to talk about invisible walls and how to make secret areas that'll open up as soon as you walk through an entranceway, kind of like this. Alright, and now I'll respawn at this checkpoint. And so what I did there is I walked through this, set off a trigger, and it opened up that entire room for me. I'll show you how to put that in. I'll teach you how to make vendors and how to make each different one, how to make them a different level. Whoops. And yeah, and I can also teach you how to put gold on your character to start off with. I'll show you some basic pathing. When I click this button, see all these bugs walk in a little circle down here? I'll teach you how to do that. These torches on the side light up as I walk through here. It's just an area trigger set up to create those torch doodads. And then hide and reveal objects. I'll show you how to do that just to mess with people's minds. Okay, and one more thing over here. There's a destructible wall. You see these quite often in the campaign. And if you hit it 3 times, actually 4 times, it'll break open and say you have found a secret area. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so here's our level start script that we saw last episode. One more thing I wanted to add with when you're first creating your level is you want to make global event triggers that will load up a bunch of different things when your level starts. So this event, or global event trigger, is right there. You can place these down, and they have pre-made events for you. And the first one's level loaded, activate boss, and then it detects what percentage of health the boss is at. And if any of these events happen, then it'll trigger this global event trigger. So let's select level loaded, and so whenever the level loads, this specific global event trigger will activate. So I've already made one right here that has level loaded, and it's attached to a couple different things. This is our first one I'm going to go over. It says play music, and this is how to play the music that you hear in the background while you're playing the game. Right now it's on Act 1. You can change it to Act 2, and that's that. Act 3, Act 4. It has all the different main musics that are playing while you're going through the campaign and story, plus the main menu music and all that stuff. You want to have that on loop, just so when your song's playing in the background while everyone's going through your level, when the song ends, it'll just start back over instead of just shut off forever, so it's dead silent throughout the game. Okay, so there's your play music. Now the fade in, fade out effect, it's pretty simple. You use add parallax layer, which it just basically pastes an image over top of the screen, and then there's a remove parallax layer, which takes away the image that's on the screen. And to do the blackout effect, you want to go to add parallax layer. You want the sprite to be this menus/menus.xml :black, and that'll put a big black layer over the entire screen. If I hit play, it'll show you, and then stop to get rid of it. And it's on layer 100, which means in reference to all the other images, that's how high it is on priority, and so it'll overlap everything that's at 100. If I set this to -25 or negative anything, it'll be behind the walls and the ledges, but still in front of the background because I haven't placed anything there, so there's really no image except for the default blue screen behind you. And so I don't want that to be back there, I want it to be in front of everything, so that's what the layer is all about. The fade in, This is how long it takes for the image to fade in. Right now I have it at 1, which we saw that about 1,000 ticks was about 1 second, and so 1 tick is about 1,000th of a second. And so it pretty much instantly makes the whole screen black, because I don't want it to fade to the black, I just want it to be black and then fade out. And so this will make the screen black. The X and the Y is if you want to do an offset to shift it up and to the left a little bit, but this covers the entire screen, so we don't need to shift it at all. And then the scroll, you can actually make the image scroll, as in it'll move slowly across the screen in either the X direction, the Y direction, or both. And so I have this event trigger firing this, and then I have this one firing a timer. And this timer is set for its frequency is at 3,000, so about after 3 seconds, it'll fire this remove parallax layer. And this timer trigger is set to only trigger once. So the remove parallax layer, it just removes whatever parallax layer you just put on the screen, so the previous one, and it removes the parallax layer on the layer that you put it. So if you put this on layer 100, you have to remove layer 100 parallax. And then you want it to fade out for about 3 seconds, so I put that up to 3,000. Okay. And so hopefully that made sense. Kind of went through it a little quick. Let's move on to the text that I have on the screen. I have 3 different texts. This is governing the first text. Actually, this is governing the second text, and this is governing the third text. So this text right here is the welcome tutorial map, and this is called announce text. It's I think towards the bottom. Yeah, it's right here in the scripts. And what you do here is you type in whatever you want the text to appear on the screen, and then you set the time for how long you want it to be there, and then you set what type of text it's going to be. A title is going to be located at the top of the screen. It's going to be bold. A subtitle is going to be located directly under the title screen, or the title text, but it's not going to be big and bold. It's just going to be small text. And then a text, just plain text, is going to be located at the bottom of the screen, and it's going to be small text as well. And so since this is the welcome to tutorial map, that is my title, and I want it to be displayed as a title for about 2.5 seconds. Okay, and now here we have a player count, which counts exactly how many players are in the game. It just does it all for you. You don't have to make any complex scripts for it. And what you do is you set this can attach to multiple different triggers depending on how many players there are. So if there's 1 player, you can say attach to this trigger. This one up here is what I have 1 player attached to. And so when there's 1 player in the game, it's going to activate this trigger, which is announce text, and it says 1 player. Now if 2 players are in the game, I set that and I attached it to this text, which says 2 players. So basically what this is doing is just stating how many players are in the game. It's not necessary. I'm just putting it out there so you guys know what it is and how to use it. And then these things are actually attached to variables. If you guys don't know what a variable is, it's basically just a storage for some kind of information. A variable can be just a number, like it could be the number 5, or it could be a word. Those are generally called strings. But what I'm doing here is I'm making a variable that's equal to the number of players in the game. So if I ever want to reference how many players are in the game, like if I'm spawning units inside of a area, and I want there to be at least 1 unit spawned for every player in the game, then I'll say spawn however many units equal to the variable of however many players there are. And so it'll spawn 4 units if there's 4 players, and it'll spawn 1 unit if there's 1 player. So it's kind of like a difficulty setting. Alright, and so this is if it's only 1 player, and it tells this change variable to change the variable that I've created to 1. So you click here to attach it to that variable, and then escape to exit out of the selection menu. You say set. You can add, subtract, multiply, divide, or do an exponent, but we just want to set it to a number. And then it has a rounding, so if it's like 0.2, it can round down or round up. And I'm rounding to the nearest whole number, and I'm just saying set it to 1. So the rounding is not necessary, but that's what that is. And so this one, when there's 1 player, it'll set it to a value of 1. When there's 2 players, this one will set it to a value of 2, and so on. Okay, here's the last thing for when the level starts. It is the difficulty filter. What it does is it finds out what difficulty the player has selected to play the game at, and it'll trigger certain triggers based off of that. So if the difficulty is easy, I've attached it to, I believe, this text. No, I've attached the easy one to this text. And so this text says difficulty : easy, and that just displays on the screen. So it's just kind of reminding the player what difficulty he's playing on. And you can attach this to many more things if you want them to be based off of difficulty. And so it'll only trigger those traps if you're on the hard difficulty, let's say. Okay, so there's all the general startup information you're going to need to make your map, nice and fancy right when it starts. Okay, let's move into the actual gameplay mechanics. I have the basic projectile shooters that we saw in the previous tutorial. And the cool thing about when you're making a new map and you say, oh, I want some projectile shooters here just like I had in my previous game, you can save this game, you can file open the game that you were at before, which this is the previous map, and you can grab this, control copy, and you can actually paste it into your new map. So I'm going to open back up my map that I was on, and then I can just say control paste, and it actually pastes the exact same scripts attached to the exact same projectile shooters into my new map. So that's really cool. And it saves a lot of time, and it's pretty darn easy to do. Okay, so kind of like to hide that, but yeah, let me just throw this out of the way. Okay, so the first room that I have here, I have a statue that behind it is a hidden button, and this button does multiple things. What it does is it does the basic things where it activates the button doodad and makes it click in. It makes the sound of button hatch, and so it sounds like the button's being clicked. And this top one is making a teleport noise, which is the noise I want for when the key teleports in, which the key's not really teleporting, I'm just creating it there. And then if I make the teleport noise and I make a teleport animation, all three of these combined will look like a key just appeared right in the room. So this area trigger, which is attached to this shape, when you touch the shape, the area trigger is going to do all those first things, and then it's also going to, right here, this is called a play effect script. And what it's doing is the sprite that it's playing is a particle or effects/particle.xml flash. And if I hit this play button, if you look at the script, it's playing the animation. And so you can look at the different effects and items and all those different little, you can even make it play doodads and stuff like that. It'll just paste the image there and then get rid of it after it plays it. And so that's going to play a little teleporting thing for my key that's going to teleport in, which to create the key, I just take a spawn object script, place it down here, and then set it to item key bronze, because I have a bronze door. And I'm placing both of those, wherever those are located, that's where the effect is going to be played, and wherever the item is going to be created. So I'm placing these both on this little platform right here. So my key and my effect will be right there. Okay, let's see, the camera shake. So when I press the button, it actually shakes the camera, and if I hit play, you can see the effect. And you can change the duration, how far in the X it shakes, how far in the Y it shakes, and how fast it shakes. And so you can make a, I don't know, a really vicious shake, or you can make a pretty timid shake. But I just got a standard one. And it's just kind of a nice effect, kind of like the room's shaking while the key is teleporting in, like powerful magic is coming through. Just adds the effect of being in a dungeon and getting absorbed into the game. So that's always nice for your players to have. Okay, here's one of the things that it's a little buggy, but it's definitely useful. MoveAI. This script is at the very bottom, and all you do is you select the actors that you want to move, which I have these little bugs or these little slime guys selected there, and then you select the target location where you want them to move to. And you can't just select anywhere, you have to select a pathing node, which those are up towards the top, they're right here. And you place down pathing nodes, and that's basically a location that you can move units to. And so this MoveAI selects these slimes and moves them down to this pathing node. And now this pathing node, it allows you to select the next path, which is right here. And so you want to click that, and then you click on this next path, or this next pathing node, and it'll connect it to it. So as soon as these little slimes reach their first destination, they'll continue the path that these pathing nodes have laid out for them. So they'll walk to this path, and then they'll go down to this pathing node, and then they'll go down to this pathing node. And you'll see that in game. I'll save and test that really quick so you can see that in action if you weren't paying attention the first time. Alright, there's a shaking screen, noise. And see how those guys are currently coming down and walking towards the doorway, as if they heard the noise of the key spawning. Alright, so it just kind of adds a little more of an effect to the game. Not necessary, but definitely useful if you want to do that. Alright. Let's look back at the statue that I had destroyed. It's really simple, and the script that it uses is a object event trigger, which this will fire whenever whatever object it's connected to has an event happen to it. So this is connected to my statue object, and the event that it's looking for is a hit event, which means a player has attacked it, or maybe even a monster has attacked it. Something has hit this object, and then that'll make my object event trigger fire. And the object event trigger is attached to a play sound, which plays wall _ hit, which is kind of, I don't know if you can hear it, but it kind of sounds like a wall's crumbling. And so I just kind of wanted the statue to make it sound like it crumbles, and then it also destroys the object, and so the statue crumbles away and gets out of your way, so you can go step on this button. Okay, and then now is a good time to show you how the keys and doors work. They're kind of weird, but they're really simplistic once you wrap your head around it. And this is a very simple little door that I made. You just, to make your own door, you just place down the key required, which I'm using bronze right now, so I'm placing down a bunch of bronze keys, and then you place down bronze doors, which I believe the keys and the doors are located in items because they're interactable. Okay, so I'm gonna save Control-Shift test, or Control-Shift-T, so it tests where I'm located at, and I'm gonna pick up all these keys. Now, what governs a door is it will basically, it counts as a door no matter how many pieces there are, as long as they're all touching each other. So this this top piece is all one door, but it's made up of 2 pieces. But it's only going to use up one of my 8 keys. So now I have 7. Now this door is twice as big, but it's still only going to use up one of my 7 keys. There, now I have 6 keys left. And then this is another 2 size door, and it doesn't matter if it's horizontal or vertical, as long as the pieces are touching. So right here I have the 2 same formations, except for the top formation has all the pieces touching each other, and so they're all going to count as one door. So when I touch that, they'll all go away, and it only took away 1 key. This bottom, they're in the same formation, but they're just spaced out just enough to where they're not actually touching. So if I want to break these down, it actually takes them all away individually. And then same with here, you can do horizontal and vertical. As long as they're touching in any way, as long as the physical barriers are touching in any way, it'll count as a door. Alright, so hopefully that explains how all doors work. They're straightforward. It doesn't matter what color of door you're using, they all look the same. And I'll show you the barriers really quick. So these, when I grab these, it shows the physical barriers, and see how these 2 are overlapping, and right here there's a space in between, and there's a space in between, and right here it's overlapping. So as long as that physical barrier, or physical collider, is touching, then it all counts as one door, and you only need 1 key. Okay, now this next room, it's not really that complicated to make a hidden room. The thing about it is you want to make the room before you try to make the script part of it. Let's see, it's kind of hard to select these. Move these all out of the way. And all I've done is I've created a room, and I've placed these kind of like hider objects over top of it, so you don't know the room is there. They're the same color as the ceiling, and so when your player is in game, he just looks at it and it looks like a ceiling. And then all you're doing is you're pretty much just deleting the ceiling. Okay, sorry, my video just cut out. So you're just deleting the ceiling, and What else I'm doing is I'm also playing a sound, which is called bonus, or sound slash bonus XML bonus wall DST, destroy. It kind of it makes the sound that I want, so I put that in there. And I made a camera shake just so it kind of feels like the ceiling's crumbling away. And that's all that's really about. You just have to put in these pieces, which they are located under the doodads towards the top. They're under color, theme, and then A. Or color theme B, depending on what kind of tile set you're working with. And the color theme B kind of has like these see-through ones, which are nice if you want to have like a kind of visible room, but not really. Or those are all the dither ones, sorry. All the themes have those. If it's a dither, then you can kind of see through it. And yeah, that's all the ceilings are. Let's keep on going to these torches. So you saw when I tested this that if you walk through here, it's just a simple area trigger that it lights up the torch when you walk through. And let's set this up really quick. I left one of these open. No, I didn't. My video got corrupted, so I got to redo this. So I'm going to set up a little trigger for you, showing you exactly how to do that. It's really simple. The only complicated part is you can't just change the state of this doodad to an on. You actually have to delete this torch and replace it with a torch that's turned on, because this doodad doesn't have a state of on and off. So let's pull in our area trigger. Let's pull in the rectangle shape for that area trigger. I'm going to make its width wide, so it'll cover the whole hallway. This thing is going to reference that as its shape. It's going to only activate when a player walks through it. And I'm going to set the trigger times to only once, so I can't keep recreating torches on top of each other. Let's see, now we want destroy object. Right here. And I'm going to attach this to there. And now this is going to destroy these two torches. And then we also want to place down two create objects. I forgot what those are called. Spawn object. And those are right here. 1, 2. And these spawn objects, you want to kind of have them right here, not directly on the torch. You might have to like test this out a couple times to make sure they're in the right position, because they kind of spawn the torch up high from where they're located. But let me set these both to spawn, both these spawn objects to spawn torch, which it's just down right here, lamp torch. And now I can either have this area trigger activate these two spawn objects, or I can have the destroy object activate these two spawn objects. So I'm going to have the destroy object activate them both. So the area is going to trigger the destroy object, and it's going to destroy the two previous torches, and it's going to trigger these two spawn objects and create two new torches. So let's make sure this works. Control S, Control Shift T. There we go, works. And you can't trigger it twice. Next I'm going to show you how this invisible door works, which it disappears when somebody gets close and then reappears when they try to walk away. Very simple, we just have two area triggers, and I'm using the hide object script. This one is simple. You just you specify which object you want to hide, and you can either hide it, show it, or toggle, which just alternates in between hiding and showing. Every time you toggle it, just goes to the other state, either hidden or shown. And I have the closer one hiding it, so as soon as they get close to it, it hides, and then as soon as they walk away, the second one will show it. So it's state show, and they're both connected to this. And my area trigger that's closer is connected to all these little play effects. Like we saw when we spawned the key in, we made the teleport effect, which these ones all, if you hit play, they all play this little sparkle image that it's called effects particles XML hit boss lich. So those I stole from the campaign, and they just kind of make it, they just kind of look magical, and so I put those in because the stairway is magically disappearing. Okay, now let's do these guys again. So these vendors are really easy. We have a level 2 combo vendor. We have a level 3 defense vendor, and we have a level 1, what is it? I forgot what those guys are called. They got the health and the mana. So those guys are already set up. They're based off of a shape, and then all you have to do is place down one shop area trigger and attach that to the shape. You click on this little designate down here and designate that shape. And so now whenever somebody is within that circle, if they use their action button or their attack button, which is the same, it'll activate that shop. And you specify within this trigger what you want the vendor to sell. So this first one is a combo vendor, and how to specify the combo sales are it's COMBO, which is just combo, and then you either place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 behind it to specify which level of combo it's selling. So this guy's selling level 1 combo and level 2 combos, and so you have to put them both in there. You can't just put in the level 2 because it won't sell the level 1s then. And so you put in combo level 1, and then you put a space, and then you type in combo level 2. And as long as you space out, you can put in whatever you want. I can put in a defense 1, oops, DEF1, space OFF1. And so now this guy's selling combo 1, 2, defense 1, and offense 1 items. But we don't want those. So I'm going to delete those. This next vendor, he's level 3, and I have him selling defense level 1, 2, and 3. This vendor's level 1, he's only selling miscellaneous 1, which is MISC. Defense is DEF. Offense is OFF, and power is POWER. Those are all the abbreviations if you want to specify a shop. And I'm going to set up the power and the offense shops right here. So I'm just going to copy these scripts over, save a bunch of time. Position them. Change this guy to off 1, off 2, off. Nope, never mind. He's just a level 1, so I just want the off 1. This potion guy, there is only one level for potions, or for powers. And so I just want to type in power. I don't need a 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5 because there's only one level for this guy. And there you go. These guys are all set up. I'll save and test it right here and show you. So I swing my sword and it activates the shop. There you go. Oops. Okay, so now let's not look at that really quick. First we want to look at this. This is the pathing trigger again. As we saw previously over here, I had all these little slime guys go from this trigger, or this path to this path to this path. These guys, when I press this button, it does the little click noise and the button animation. But besides that, it does the MoveAI, and it's doing the same thing. It's sending them to this first pathing node, and then they're walking to the second pathing node, and then to the third pathing node. Now I'm going to show you why this trigger is buggy. I'm going to test it. And let me walk on that. Now, these little bugs, they'll get caught up on each other sometimes. And if the bugs try to walk into each other, so I'm going to click the button again. And now see how they got stuck right there? I can keep clicking the button and it's not going to do anything because right now they're all jammed together. So the pathing in this game is pretty clunky, and they can't really push each other out of the way. They're trying right now, but they can't. And so plan for that when you make these pathing nodes. Also, there's another thing you got to watch out, is these pathing nodes do not work in loops, and so you can't have like a complete patrol. So if I connect this one, if I click its next path to there, so I have a perfect triangle, now these guys will go in a little circle forever, right? Well, when I test this, oh shoot, I tested at the wrong location. Sorry. Let me test up here. When I click this button, it's actually frozen the game, and then it unfreezes, and my trigger actually didn't fire. It didn't do anything. So I click it again, it freezes, and then it unfreezes. And quite often, it actually will just crash your game completely and make you have to quit out. So I would not suggest doing these loops because they just do not work. So let me deselect that from there. And so now as long as it's not in a loop, it won't run into an infinite string and it won't crash your game. I hope they fix that because it's always nice to have guys patrolling on the map, but you just can't do that right now. At least not to my knowledge. You probably could if you're clever enough. You could probably set it up on a timer trigger, so as soon as it finishes this little circle path, the timer or the frequency will set off again and it'll start the triangle again. It'll go through and then it'll start it again and start it again instead of actually having these connected. So it won't kill your game when you do that. Okay, now these hidden doorways, which break away as you hack away at them, they're a little complicated. I actually copied this script straight from one of the example levels, And so I didn't create this script myself, but I know how it works, and so I'll describe it to you really quick. So we have the object event trigger, just like with the statue, where when you hit it, it will set off this trigger. And so this one's on hit as well, and its object is connected to this right here, which it's actually connected to the lower doodad, which is this one. This doodad has 4 different states, 1, 2, 3, and 4, makes it to where it gets closer and closer to this image. But once you get to the 4th image, you're going to delete it because it's collidable and you can't go through it. And so you want to delete it so you can go through it, but when it's gone, you want something left over that looks like a little arch so you can walk through it. So once you have all these connected to this doodad, I'd suggest placing one of these over top of it so it's not just an open pathway. It kind of looks like a little, broken away tunnel. So this thing fires whenever somebody hits that, and what it does is it's connected to 4 different counters. And let's see. Each of these counters, whenever they're fired, they count, and you also set them to what you want them to count to. So this first one, it counts when it's fired, but all it's doing is it's counting to 1. And so when it counts to 1, it activates and it executes whatever it's connected to. And so I have it connected to this change doodad state, and it changes the state of this broken wall to state 2, which makes it a little more broken, and it makes the sound of a wall hit. And now this one has already counted to 1, but when you hit that wall again, it'll count again, and it'll count to 2, which will set this next change doodad state to make this wall change to state 3, so it's even more crumbled away, and it does the same sound of a wall hit. Counter 3 has already counted up to 2, and once you hit the wall again, it will count to 3, and it will set off this change doodad state to the 4th state, which it's practically broken away, but not quite. And then finally this 4th counter is already at 3, and when you hit it again, it will count to 4, and it will fire whatever its execution is selected. And it's selected to execute this destroy object, and it will destroy that object that they've been changing the doodad state of, and all that will be left over is that archway that we put in there that's overlaying it right now. And breaks away, it plays the noise of a wall breaking, it puts up the text of "you found a secret area" as a title, and it sets up the music of info_secret. So it plays a little secret noise as if you've opened up a little secret area. That's that, and I believe I'm actually done with this entire tutorial map. Cool. Well, I hope that helped out a lot, guys, and I'd appreciate suggestions if you guys want me to explain any more scripts. I'm pretty sure I went over most of them. A lot of these are straightforward. They're all pretty simple. If you just mess around with them, you usually figure out how to use them. I figured out all these scripts and how to do everything strictly by just messing around with them, placing them down, trying to connect them to stuff, and seeing what does what. Same with these glitches and crashing my game. I figured that out by myself. Yeah, just try it out, figure things out, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to make another video. Later.